Okay, next process for establishing a new chamfer on the end of the valve would be to chuck this apparatus into the head assembly. And what this does is it establishes a 45-degree angle for us on the end of the valve. So we clamp this down into position, then we're going to take our valve and we're going to lay it into the assembly. We're going to dial this in and adjust it accordingly so that we get the right position close to the face of the stone so we can reestablish our chamfer. I like to keep the valve moving until it touches the stone. You can see it's just starting to move the stone. So what we do here is back it off so there is no contact with the stone. And then I'm ready to start doing the end chamfering. So we start the piece of equipment up. Get the appropriate lubrication supply on both of the V positions of this apparatus. Lubricate the valve well. Drop it down into position. And it should just make contact with it. Now, as I turn it, I start to cut and establish a new chamfered edge on the end of the valve. I can dial this in according to the amount of increments that I would like in 1 thou or plus increments. And I continue through the chamfering process until I get the result I'm looking for. Most manufacturers say that you should have a minimum of about a 10 thou 45-degree chamfer. This aids in preventing chipping and gouling of the top of the valve stem. Then when we go back and reface the valve, we can end dress this and we still have an appropriate chamfer left. It also aids in installing valve seals and keeping the geometry correct on the rocker arm assemblies. Okay, the next thing we have to do is select the appropriate angle based on manufacturer specifications for our face angle on the valve. So if we take a look here, you can see there's multiple increments and we already have the head set at 45 degrees. And that's the angle that the manufacturer supports for our new face angle that we're trying to establish. The next thing we have to do is take a look at the valve, and where we see the guide area has been running, we want to chuck this up in the head just slightly outside of that area so there's no worn section of that valve. Now, we need something to pilot the end of this. So what we need to do is start the machine up, jog it until we get to our Allen set screws, which we can release. And we can pull out this shaft. It has a conical seat which allows the chamfered edge that we just established to meet it. That helps align the valve in the chuck process. So we put this back into position. We select the position we want to be with the valve and where we want to be with the valve. Lock it up, and then we drop the conical anvil back to it and position it. That helps steady the valve during the cutting, grinding process. So we go back in. Just going to jog this a little bit more. And we can lock that down. Once we've locked it down, now we can remove a valve, reinstall another valve from the same engine configuration, and be chucked up in the exact same position. So this allows us to do multiple valves at the same time, and typically this is a procedure that's done when we're doing an entire cylinder head or entire cylinder heads. So now the next process I want to do is start the chuck up and have a look at it and see if our valve looks like it's sitting fairly straight, which to me it is. Okay? There's no problems indicating from the assembly or disassembly or inspection of this valve that indicates that it has been running off center. Okay, so the next procedure is to make sure that our stone is in a relative position to the grinding. As you can see right now, our stone's too far ahead. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the motor head back and manually just position this so that we can go across the face of this valve. What we need to do is sit roughly in the center where we're going to start our cut. I'm going to bring it very close, within a couple thou, so that we're not actually making contact. The next thing we need to do is to adjust the stops.